Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this lecture, we will discuss the classification of food on the basis of pH value. It provides us information about the food poisoning microorganisms which can cause spoilage, which can cause poisoning, and it also helps us to select or to choose the heat processing treatment or the heat processing length of time. For this purpose, the food have been classified into four groups on the basis of pH value. They are high acid foods, medium acid foods, and low acid foods. In this, we will discuss example, that is the pH range, the example, the possible microorganisms, and the heat treatment if needed. So let's start from the high acid foods. High acid foods are basically the are those foods whose pH is from 3.7 or below. That is, they are high acid foods. Examples of such foods are the fermented vegetables, the citrus juices, that is the lemon, lime, grapes, etc. The microorganisms which can grow and which can exist in such foods are the mold and yeast. The molds and yeast are less resistant to the temperature, to the heat, and can easily be destroyed. Acidurones, they are bacteria. Aciduron are bit resistant to the heat treatment, and pasteurization temperature is required to destroy them. The pasteurization temperature may vary from 65 to 88 degrees C depending on the type of the food commodity and of the strength of the acidurons present in that food. Food poisoning microorganisms cannot survive or cannot grow in the high acid foods. Second one is the acid food. The pH of the acid foods are from 4.5 to 3.7. Examples of such foods are guava, orange, mangoes, pineapple, apple, and remember that the acidic bacteria and enzymes are responsible for the deterioration and spoilage of such foods. But enzymes, as they are protein in nature, they can be denatured by the heat treatment. And the acidic bacteria, they can be easily controlled by pasteurization temperature. So by pasteurization temperature, the acidic bacteria and the enzymes are destroyed. Bacillus thermoacidurones can cause spoilage in such foods. So it can be stated that they can be spoiled by the thermoacidurones. The food spoilage don't occur in the acid and high acid foods because by low heat treatment they can be destroyed and they cannot survive in the acidic environment as they can grow in the medium acid food and the low acid foods. Such foods, if products are prepared from it, care should be taken while preparing product from such foods because by the contaminated processing equipments they can get contaminated, or even if they are stored in an area which is contaminated, the food can be spoiled. The food can be contaminated and can be spoiled, and such things have happened in the past in the developed world, that is in the America and other countries of the Europe, etc. Now we will discuss the third one, that is the medium acid foods. The medium acid foods, the pH of the medium acid foods are from the 5.0 to 4.5. Examples of such foods are the mixtures of the meat and vegetables with tomato, which is acidic in nature. and makes the food partially acidic. Such foods are spoiled by the microorganisms which are responsible for the spoilage of the food uh, with low acidity. That is, the foods which are low acid foods can be spoiled by the microorganisms and enzymes. They are responsible also for the spoilage of the medium acid foods. And the similar heat treatment should be given to both types. That is the best thing, that the heat treatment which is selected for one can be applied for the second one also. The low acid foods are those whose pH is 5 or above 5. Foods in this category are generally vegetables. That is, the vegetables can be classified if on the basis of the pH in the low acid food, in the category of the low acid foods. Foods in this category includes okra, carrot, beans, maize, wheat, fish, milk, and some other commodities. Such foods are spoiled by the spore forming, the non-spore forming, and enzymes. That is the spore forming microorganisms, the non-spore forming microorganisms, and the enzymes. The spore forming microorganisms, that is the spores, the treatment or the control of the spore is a bit difficult, so care should be taken. While the non-spore forming and the enzymes can easily be controlled as compared to the spore forming microorganisms which are producing the spores, because the spore treatment is difficult, and if they are destroyed, the food quality will be degraded by such huge or high heat treatment. They are spoiled by the spore forming microorganisms and enzymes. Spore are resistant to heat and a temperature of 115 to 121, that is 115 degrees C to 121 degrees C is required for the treatment of, for the destruction of the spore forming microorganisms and for the spore. If heated, the quality will be degraded, and if the quality is degraded, the acceptability to the consumer will be degraded and the losses to the nutrients will occur. So, and remember that most food spoilage microorganisms and the food poisoning microorganisms are present in the mildly acidic food, that is the medium acid foods and the low acid foods. The poisoning microorganisms cannot survive in the high acid food and acid foods, while they can grow in the low acid food and medium acid foods. So care should be taken while preparing product from it, while processing it, because if they got contamination from such environment, the food will be contaminated and will be spoiled soon. And if they are stored in an environment, in an area which are contaminated, the food will get affected and will get contaminated, and the life of the storage life of the food commodities will be shorter and the quality will be degraded. If you have any question about the classification of food on the basis of pH value regarding this lecture, you can ask us. I will appreciate your questions. Thank you.